is an application that the cluster is monitoring, and it is also offline. It doesn't have any IP address assigned to it. It doesn't have any client access name. And at this point, it's offline on my GHAM host 1, whilst my GHAM host 2 is hosting a virtual machine that I have created before. Now, to install the operating system, I will need to go ahead and turn on that virtual machine and carry out an installation as normal. So I just right click and start my virtual machine installation. This is going to take a while, so I'm going to pause the recording at this point in time. Okay, my virtual machine number 2 is still installing, so I thought that I would show you what is happening with my virtual machine number 1 in the meanwhile, which is right here, virtual machine number 1. If I go on my virtual machine 1 and select properties, you can see that I can specify which owners in order of preference I'm going to use for the virtual machine, the first being GM host 1 and the second GM host 2. I can also specify the maximum number of failures that are allowed in a period of time, and whether I can allow failback of that virtual machine or not. If I had more than one network, I could also select which network is going to be used for the live migration traffic, i.e. the copying of memory pages from one server to another. Typically, it's the cluster private network. You may want to have a dedicated card for that too. Note that although you can have multiple virtual machines on the same volume for live migration, you can only do one live migration at a time from one node. So in this case, when I have two virtual machines that are running on my cluster, I would want to have one that is normally active on node 1 and one that is normally active on node 2, so I can initiate a failover, a live migration of them, those machines independently. So let's go ahead and check what's happening on my virtual machine number 1 at this point. So I go to my Hyper-V manager. I know that virtual machine number 1 is on GM host 2. I connect to it, and it's running at this point my pinball application in demo mode. And if I just wait a minute, the ball is going to start. And this counter is also going to start to increase. So I will leave it there to run. And whilst it's running, I will minimize the window, go to my failover manager, and initiate a live migration to GHAM host 1. In order to do that, I just right click and select live migrate. I have the option to do a move virtual machine. This is a quick migration. It will entail an interruption of service. Live migration will not. So look what's happening here. Click live migration, and the process is started. And now my machine is running on GHAM host 1, and as you can see from the display here, the game has not actually been interrupted, and the counter has kept ticking in the process. So with that, just for the fun of it, we'll try another live migration, bring it back to GHAM host 2. all of this was that CSV volume is being hit because I'm installing XP Test VM2. So the I/O is handled really well during the process. So there we go. Let's minimize this again and right click on my virtual machine, live migrate to GM host 2, and here we go. You can see that I have now my virtual machine that was running on host 1. It's now running on host 2. And there is a little while whilst the connection has to be re-established. It's called a blackout period. It's normally lower than a TCP reconnect window. That's the target of the final product, but in some cases it may throw the utilities in a bit of a disarray. In fact, Hyper-V Manager believes in this beta version that XP Test VM1 is running both on host 1 and on host 2, whilst we know that after the live migration it's running on host 2. So if we go ahead and connect to the one on host 2, we can see that the counter has kept increasing, my application hasn't crashed, and my virtual machine is there running happily. So thank you very much, and I hope I'll see you in the next phase of this webcast, which will talk about quick migration on the other hand. Thank you very much.